trapped in the mirror. Michael Jackson awoke with a start. The room around him was unfamiliar. Plain white walls, a single wooden dresser, and a small window letting in the pale glow of moonlight. There were no platinum records on the walls, no extravagant chandeliers, no lingering scent of expensive cologne. His hands felt different, thicker, rougher. He looked down and gasped. These weren't his hands. The long, slender fingers he knew so well were gone, replaced by large, calloused hands with short nails. His skin was no longer the rich caramel tone he had come to recognize in the mirror. It was darker, rougher, as if it belonged to someone else entirely. Michael stumbled out of bed and rushed to the mirror above the dresser. His breath hitched in his throat. The face staring back at him was not his own. Gone were the delicate cheekbones, the sharp jawline, the meticulously sculpted nose. Instead, he saw a strong, broad face with a thick mustache, deep brown eyes, and a faint scar across the left eyebrow. He touched his face, and the man in the mirror did the same. "No, this isn't real," Michael whispered, his voice hoarse and unfamiliar. He slapped his own cheek, pinched his arm. Nothing changed. He was trapped in this body. A sudden knock at the door made him jump. "Tony, you all right in there?" a deep voice called. Tony. Who the hell was Tony? Michael hesitated, his mind spinning. He had to figure out what was happening. He had to wake up from this dream. Dressed in a wrinkled t-shirt and faded jeans he didn't recognize, Michael stepped out of the room. The house was small and cluttered, nothing like the Neverland Ranch or the luxury suites he was used to. A heavy-set man with a graying beard sat at the kitchen table, sipping coffee from a chipped mug. "You were tossing and turning all night, man. Rough dreams?" the man asked. Michael opened his mouth to respond but hesitated. What was he supposed to say? That he wasn't who they thought he was? That he was Michael Jackson, trapped in another man's body? No, he had to play along until he could figure this out. "Yeah," he muttered. "Weird dreams." The man chuckled. "Well, get your head straight. We got work today. The boss ain't gonna like it if you're dragging your feet again." Michael nodded, pretending to understand. His heart pounded in his chest. Who was this man? What kind of work was he supposed to be doing? And most importantly, how was he going to get back to himself? Hours later, Michael found himself in a factory, surrounded by machines and the scent of oil and sweat. His hands worked instinctively, as if they knew the job better than his mind did. He lifted, hammered, assembled, each action feeling both foreign and natural at the same time. But every now and then he would catch glimpses of something else. A flash of a concert stage, a memory of a screaming crowd, the sound of a high-pitched hee-hee echoing in his head. His body kept working, but his mind was breaking apart. Was he going insane? Had he imagined his entire life as Michael Jackson? Was this reality and the other just a dream? Or was someone, keeping him here? As the days passed, Michael's grip on reality began to slip. He would wake up in strange places, not remembering how he got there. Sometimes he would catch himself humming melodies that no one around him recognized. Other times he'd hear his own voice singing in the distance, only to turn and find nothing there. One evening, after another grueling shift at the factory, Michael wandered the dimly lit streets, searching for answers. He passed by a storefront with old televisions displayed in the window. Static filled the screens, but as he turned to walk away, an image flickered to life. It was him, the real him, Michael Jackson, on a stage bathed in golden light, performing a flawless spin before launching into the moonwalk. The video was grainy, distorted, but it was him. He pressed his hands against the glass, his breath fogging up the display. "That's me," he whispered. "That's me." A shadow shifted behind him. "No, Tony," a voice said, low and familiar. That was you. Michael spun around, but the street was empty. The air suddenly felt heavier, suffocating. His heart pounded against his ribs as he turned back to the television. The image was gone, just static once more. He was losing himself, and he was running out of time. Nights became unbearable. Every time he closed his eyes, he was transported to a place filled with faceless figures, dancing in slow motion, their movements eerily synchronized to a melody only he could hear. He would try to speak, but no sound would come out. He tried to run, but the ground would pull him deeper, like the quicksand. Then came the whispers. "You don't belong here. You're fading. He is taking your place." The voice was his own, yet it was not. Each night the dreams became longer. Each day his memories became fuzzier. He tried writing things down, lyrics, names, places, only to find the words smudged and unreadable minutes later. One night he caught his reflection in a darkened window. But this time it wasn't the stranger's face staring back. It was him, Michael Jackson, the real Michael Jackson. But the reflection did not mimic his movements. It simply stared, expressionless. Then, slowly, a grin spread across its face. "I'm almost ready," it whispered. Michael stumbled back. No, this isn't real." The reflection tilted its head. "It will be soon. You had your time. Now it's mine." Michael screamed, pounding his fists against the glass. But the reflection only laughed, its voice distorting into something unnatural, something inhuman. He fell to his knees, gasping for air. He could feel himself slipping, fading. He had to fight back. He had to remember who he was before he disappeared forever.